Yeah. Hi, good morning, everyone. So, welcome back to the class of BCAR. And today we will be discussing the chapter meetings. How are you all doing? I see some of you have already joined. Okay, if I'm looking towards the side, it is just because I'm looking at the system and your query boxes. That's it. Okay, so we will be discussing meetings chapter today. In the last class, we discussed about the resume writing, and I hope the resume writing is clear to you. In case there is any problem, you can ask me now. Okay, there are quite a lot of you have joined already. I'm glad to see that. I'm waiting for others to join in, and if there is any query that you have regarding resume writing, you can ask me now. Otherwise, we'll start with today's session. Also, I would prefer if you ask me questions related to the relevant topic, do not ask me questions that are not relevant, please. Okay, I always say that. I always say that. Okay, but still, I get some questions which are not relevant at all and are not related to the topic that I'm teaching. Okay, resume writing is crystal clear. Thank you, Dimple. Anybody else? Any problems? Anything that you have? Any problem? I'm good, Ankita. Thank you so much for asking. Okay, so this is the last chapter, meetings. And meetings is also part of a professional world. And I mean, because that the entire world revolves around meetings, right? And we keep talking about this. Oh, I have a meeting here. Oh, I have a meeting there. So whenever we discuss about meetings, what is a meeting? Have you ever wondered? Have you actually sat down and thought about that? What the word meeting is about, and what are the essentials of meeting, and what all does it take to have a meeting? What is exactly meeting? Okay, and it's a very important element whenever we are taking decisions. Okay, I'll answer those questions. So if we just give you a brief about the today's topic. Yeah, so like I said, that the entire professional world revolves around meetings. Okay, without meetings, you cannot take a decision, you cannot discuss what is happening and what needs to be done next. So today we will be discussing what meetings are, what type of meetings there are, what are the requisites, what are the things that are essential, what are the do's and don'ts, and what technical aspect of meeting is involved when it comes to documentation of meeting and all of that. Am I clear? Yes. If you know, right. Okay, so I have a few queries regarding the preparation for exams. Let me just go to that so that then we can start. Mehek, I said, okay, your question is that in exams, which method that we should use for the resumes. For exams, you can use any, whichever you are confident with, whichever you feel that you can write well. Choose that if it is not mentioned which resume format you should use, right? If it is written, well and good, then you have no option. But if you do not have option given, or if you do not have anything specific written in the question, then you can just choose whatever you want to. All right. The next thing is Manisha. You can take the examples from the revision test papers, mock test papers, and previous year's questions. See how questions are given, right? And more or less, the questions are on the same lines, which is written in your given in your study material as well. The questions will be similar. The framing of the questions will be similar. So go through that, and that should give you a fair idea about what kind of questions are asked in resume writing. Okay. Is the ICA class and book material enough to clear the exam? Yes, Ankita, I think so. The classes, the study material, besides that, you have so much to practice, and there's so many things available on the website that you can use, right? Like I just said, revision test papers and the previous year's question papers and the suggested answers. So basically, that actually gives you an idea about what to write and how to write. That should be enough. I don't think you would need to do something extra. A group, okay. In a resume writing, in writing cover letter, you have to use what the format is given to you: sender's address, receiver's address, designation, and then start the cover letter. Yeah. Okay. The question comes like right. Right. So I think we have enough of questions regarding resume writing. Now let's start with meetings. That what is a meeting? What does it take to take a meeting? And what should be the agenda? What should we do to have a good meeting and a successful meeting? Okay. Now, simply, what does the word meeting mean? Okay. In literal sense, meeting is a formal or informal deliberative assembly of individuals called to debate certain issues and problems to take decisions. Now, this is a very, it's done. Okay. So, this is a very, this is a literal definition of the word meeting. Now, what does it mean? Formal and informal, you understand. Let's just break down the definition and understand what the meeting means. Now, formal and informal deliberative assembly. Now, deliberative assembly is that you have got together, you've come together formally, informally to deliberate. I mean, deliberatively means that you have an agenda in mind and you have done it purposefully. So, deliberately, you come together of individuals, and of course there are individuals involved. Assembly of individuals means that people getting together, call to debate certain issues and problems and to take decisions. Now, why we are using debate word here? Because often this is not a discussion only. Is of course it's a discussion, but it also tends to have a debate, because when you are trying to find a solution to a problem, you might have different viewpoints, and that is as good as debating, because everybody wants to prove their point right. So this is why we are using the word debate here and not just discussing, right? So debate is a more powerful word. It just adds power to it, because it's just not discussion, it is also putting your points forward and putting your viewpoint forward, and you're expecting people to be convinced by and you want to convince the others with whatever views you have about a certain issue or a problem, right? And then you want to find out a solution to it, right? And this is why meetings are not here to just chit chat and casually discussing about something. No, meeting is a very serious thing. Of course, in your meeting and even informally also, uh, when you are informally meeting someone, there's an assembly or like people are coming together, that's a get together. But if you have to discuss some problem, like for example, two brothers, they have issues with some properties or dispute or within the house, right? And then they call all the elders to come and sit and discuss the issue and take out a solution to it. That is also a meeting. That is an informal meeting, you can say so, right? Because formal meetings are oftenly go on papers, right? Because they're going to be intimation on, formal invitations will go out, intimations will go out, people will come together, then there will be a formal documentation of what was discussed and what decisions were taken off, right? But informally, you might not just put it on the papers and you make all the documentations formal and official. But of course, that is also a meeting, because you have come together to debate certain issues and problems to take decisions. Am I clear what the word meeting means? We use the word casually, meetings, because we're so used to of listening to this word, and we're so used to of using this word. But today and in the next class, you will be actually getting into the details of what actually meeting means, right? Now, meeting is also supposed to be held at a definite time, at a definite place, usually for definite duration, to follow an agreed upon agenda. Now, two people have agreed that, okay, let's discuss this in the next meeting. So basically, you hold it at a definite time. That means, you decide a time that let's meet at 4 p.m. tomorrow, or on 5th or on 6th. Okay, at a definite place. You have a place fixed already that, okay, this is where we'll meet. You're not casually deciding just 15 minutes before where to have a meeting, right? You already know when to meet, where to meet, and you know that how long this meeting will go on. You cannot just have a meeting that can go on for a day also. You have other things also to take care of. You need to have a definite duration also. And then, of course, a meeting has to have an agenda, right? It could be anything. It could be launching a new project. It could be discussing about the progress of a project. It could be discussing that, colleagues are basically the staff, the employees, uh, there is a specific problem with that. They're coming late to office. What should we do? What is the problem? Why are they coming late? Or maybe employees are taking a lot of offs, right? And the HR team needs to have a meeting with the management discussing that what is the problem? Why are people taking so many offs? And what is the solution? How can we control this situation, right? So these are all agendas. Agendas is basically when you have a purpose of meeting, you know what you have to discuss in the meeting. Are we clear? Any problems related to that so far? Are we really clear about this? Can we go on? Yeah. So agenda means when you have an objective or a purpose of a meeting. Okay, now next thing is, now there are two types of basically meetings. One is an organizational meeting and one is an operational meeting. Now, what is the difference between both the meetings? Organization meetings are meetings that basically takes place at a definite time and usually with the same agenda for to come to an conclusion and to find out an outcome. Okay. Now these organization meetings are usually decided, and you know that this will happen at a definite time. Like for example, meeting between the stockholders and management, the board meetings, the annual general meetings. You know that at the time of the year, these meetings will happen, right? These probably towards the end of the financial year, you will have organization meeting where people, the management, stockholders will meet together and decide about and take a decision or discuss what happened throughout the year. Then there are board meetings, then there are annual general meetings. Now, board meetings and annual general meetings are also happen. They also happen at a definite time. You just cannot call any the meeting suddenly unless there's an emergency, of course. But not casually. You know, the people are meeting and then discussing things. No, these meetings happen at a fixed time, at a fixed place, and that's how organization meetings are. Now, operation meetings are meetings that can be called at any time. It are regular or ad hoc meetings where time and agenda are not fixed. Now, these are the meetings that keep happening regularly within the organization based on the work, right? It could be, committee meeting, department meetings, section meetings that keep happening. But of course, it can be called at any time. The time has to be decided prior. It is not that you decided 1 hour before, unless again there is an emergency that you have to call for a meeting. Otherwise, their time and agendas are not fixed. They keep changing basically, right? So operational meeting, as the name suggests, it talks about your day-to-day operations, what is happening in the organization. You want to basically keep a check on the organization and everything, right? Now, so it can be called at any time, but organization meetings are just meetings when, a lot of people from management come together, board meetings that does not happen, cannot be called at any time. There has to be discussion about it prior. The agenda has to be decided, time has to be decided, the place, venue, everything has to be decided in advance. Am I clear? Yes, but operation meeting is just can be called at any time, right? It's just a regular kind of meeting. Are we clear about the two types of meetings? Right? So should we move on? Now, so why do we even have meeting? What is the purpose of having a meeting? Now, these could be the reasons for conducting a meeting within the organization or probably with the other organizations as well. The first reason could be to resolve problems and issues faced while planning a task. Whenever there's a problem or any issue that is faced while planning anything, you can call up a meeting with the team, with your seniors, and discuss the problem and issue because, of course, we need to find out a solution, right? Instead of people, two team members sitting together and trying to solve the problem, uh, you can call up a meeting, the entire whole team meeting, and then discuss what is the problem and issue that you are facing and how we should go about it, right? The other reason is to chalk out new strategies to promote business or increase profitability. So the other reason is that, of course, when you are discussing something new strategies, any new thing that you would like to implement, any new thing, strategy that you would like to implement to promote your business. There's a new marketing plan, there's a new branding plan. So whatever. So you basically come together, have a meeting, and you strategize it how we should implement, what could be the steps of implementation, and what all problems that can you face, what all hurdles that you can face and how you can overcome that. So you basically have a meeting regarding the new strategy to increase profitability. To exchange ideas and information, again, that is a part of a formal meeting when there is a new idea or of information that you can use in the growth of your own organization. Again, that can be the another reason for the meeting. To ensure coordination on issues, right? If you are talking one on one and you can say that, okay, we can do this, we can do that. So two people are probably on the same board, but others are not. So having a meeting together basically ensures that there's a coordination. Everybody is on the same page. They all know what the issue is and how they are supposed to solve it. Am I clear? Yes. Another is to announce or propagate a message effectively within an organized group or organization. Now, you want to announce something that is big happening in the organization. You are basically the part of the board members or the you are the chairperson of the organization, and you want to announce that or basically, or maybe you want to implement a new rule in the company or something. So you can call up a meeting, because that way the message will be effectively conveyed to everyone, rather than you are conveying to somebody, somebody is conveying to somebody else. That's not how organizations work, right? If you call up a meeting together, you're a senior person, and you announce something right away, you will see first what others feel about it. Are they on with you on board? If there's any issues, they can come to you directly and speak to you, right? Instead of there is a chaos in the organization with the new announcement, right? Okay. Now, to have a good, successful meeting, there are two things which are very important. That is the coordination and cooperation, right? If there are team members who do not see with each other eye to eye, in that case, you cannot have a successful meeting, because they will be looking for the chances to just fight, right? You need to coordinate, you need to cooperate, you need to listen to others, you should know how to put your point across. And that is how a meeting is successful. If one person has a viewpoint and others don't want to listen to that person, then how is the meeting going to be successful, right? So that way it's a very important aspect. Okay, the next is must a common intention. There must be a common intention of achieving some goal or objective. There has to be a common intention, because uh, if people are coming together, they should have a common intention. That means they want to achieve to some goal or objective after the meeting, right? They just don't want to go for the meeting again and again for the same issue, right? So yeah, so they should have a common intention. They should come together with an idea that, okay, yes, we're going to solve the issue today. Let's just talk about it and get done with it. Are we clear? Any problem? Which college meetings are we talking about? We're talking about here. If you have a meeting with your professors, management, of course, that's formal. fourth point? To ensure coordination on issues. Surya, are we talking about the fourth, to ensure coordination? Okay, so to ensure coordination on issues means that when we call up a meeting, then we know that everybody's on the same page and they're discussing the same issues. And that's how when everybody will be on the same page, everybody will be clear with the common agenda, then they will have a coordination also. They will work together because they know that they have a same goal to achieve. So this is why, sorry, to that is how the coordination will be achieved. Manisha, last 3 points. To announce. Now, to announce or propagate a message effectively within a group or a discussion. Now, if there is something that you want to announce, right, that is to announce, or if you want to basically tell a new rule in the organization, for example, maybe you're changing the timing in the morning from 9 to 10 o'clock or 10 to 9 o'clock, you're supposed to inform everybody that the office will start 1 hour early now from tomorrow onwards. However, so if you call a meeting directly, then that is more effective. Are we clear? Are we clear now? Okay. Now, next is to discuss the requisites of a meeting. Now, what does a requisite mean? What does the word requisite mean? So, requisites of a meeting mean that what is required for a meeting, what is the essential part of the meeting. Now, the first thing is select. Now, what you will need to select is the right participants. Right participants mean by that you need to have right people that you have chosen for the meeting. Because if you call for the people that are not required for the meeting, or if they don't have a purpose of the meeting, they have nothing to do with the meeting at all, right? Then in that case, there won't be a successful meeting. You just need to include the people who are, related to that issue. Sometimes what happens is that, you tend to invite people that you think that they might get offended that you did not invite for the meeting. But to engage in a purposeful meeting, participants must have a reason for attending. Now, if you invite people who do not have interest in the meeting, they will just distract everyone, they will be distracted themselves, and they won't make a decision. Then why do we need to invite them? Right? And you need to have people in the meeting that has the point of view about the issue, that knows what the issue is. They're aware and they need to find a solution to that problem. And the authority to make a decision. Now, if you call people who do not even have authority to make a decision, they're not part of the team also, then why to call them for the meeting, right? And if the participants in the meeting who cannot add the value in the meeting, do not have anything that can basically help you to come to the conclusion, and they can't even add a value to the discussion, then you don't need to call them. And trust me, if you have people who do not have anything to do with a meeting, who do not have a purpose, who do not even have a useful information that can help you to attain to the reach the conclusions, then you don't need to call them. If you call them, your meeting will be hello. Can you all see me and hear me? I've not even reached the second point, Swati. Okay, now, so right participants is basically that you choose the right people for the meeting. Next is set an agenda. Now, it is very important. If you meet without any objective, without any purpose, if people are not aware about why we are meeting, then there is no point of having a meeting. You should have an agenda which is formalized before the meeting. Probably when you're sending out the intimations or you're calling out people for the meeting, you would just be very clear, this is what I want to discuss. Agendas are the objectives or purpose and framework that define the points of discussion. Agenda communicates the purpose of the meeting. Now, agenda also communicates the purpose of the meeting, lists the speakers and participants, states the time allotted to each speaker, and so forth. Right? Are we clear? This also means that you need to communicate that why you are calling out for the meeting. You need to list the speakers and participants, states the time allotted to each speaker, and so forth. Now, if you are basically calling out a meeting where basically there will be discussion about a topic and you have decided on the speakers as well, yes, then you need to share the list of speakers, the timing that they will be speaking to, the topic that they will be discussing, everything. And then everybody who's attending the meeting should get an agenda and the list of things that will be happening in the meeting. That is very important. Even if you get an intimation and you're calling out people for some meeting, you need to have an agenda, right? And then you need to inform that agenda to everyone so that they also come up with some mindset and they should be ready for that discussion. And whatever is going to happen, they should be ready for it mentally. Yes. Okay. Now, next comes the sent intimation to all participants. Now, there has to be a notice or a circular for the meeting that should be sent by a competent authority. About the competent authority means somebody who's holding the meeting, right? Somebody who has the power to hold the meeting. Yes, at least 2-3 days prior to the meeting. Now, at least 2-3 days before the meeting, you should inform people unless, of course, it's an emergency situation, so that participants have the time to prepare. Participants have to prepare what this meeting is about, what they should also do, gather some information and the data that is required for the discussion, right? They are ready with their own research so that our meeting is successful. It must have information about date, time, venue, name of participants, and the agenda of the meeting. Now, that intimation should have the date, time, venue, name of the participant, and the agenda of meeting that is informed to every. Are we clear? Any problems so far? Okay. Next point is appoint a facilitator. Now, what does that mean? A facilitator is appointed to guide the meeting to its logical conclusion. Now, sometimes there is a facilitator who basically listens to everybody and basically, make sure that everybody is sticking to agenda. Everybody is providing structure to the process, enables cooperative decision making, ensure conflict avoid resolution. Now, this person basically just helps for the group to reach to the decision, right? The person just helps in making sure that nobody is moving haywire and nobody is moving from the topic and just talking anything nonsense, right? It provides structure. So the facilitator basically tells you, keep again and again, keep pulling you back to the topic, pulling you back to what we need to reach the conclusion. Or also it enables cooperative decision making. So facilitator is the one who's a neutral from both sides. So that facilitator can enable that there's cooperation between the two parties, the decision making. It ensures conflict avoidance and resolution. It ensures that there is no conflict and it should avoid any kind of problems between the team members. Are we clear? Now, next comes is arrive at a clear conclusions and formulate next steps. Now, basically, we arrive at a clear conclusion. That means that what happens is many times meetings fail to come to the clear conclusion because agenda or points under consideration. Sometimes what happens is when you sit down for meeting, we discuss a lot of things, but then we don't come to a conclusion, right? And irrespective of the results of the meeting, members of the groups are accountable and committed to the resolution taken by them. Now, even if the result of the meeting was not up to the mark, whatever has been decided, they're supposed to, do that. Now, the deliberation of the agenda topic, it is necessary to summarize what was discussed. We state lucidly the deductions arrived at and decide of further steps to be taken. Now, what happens is in a meeting, after the meeting, it is very important that you summarize what was discussed on paper. You state lucidly the deductions arrived, like you just, in short, you just write down what all we were discussed and, deliberations were done. And then you write about it, decide on the further steps to be taken. After the meeting concludes, a brief account of proceedings is prepared, known as minutes of the meeting. Now, after the meeting is concluded, a brief account is maintained, which is minutes of the meeting, to summarize the conclusion and future course of action. Now, this minutes of the meeting basically helps everyone to, to know that what was discussed and what was decided. It is basically sent to everyone that, this is what was discussed and decided. So this is the minutes of the meetings. Are we clear? Yes. And next time also, if something was not done from the meetings or meeting and people say that, oh, I don't think we were discussed in the meeting, then you can actually show them the minutes of the meeting and say that, see, this was discussed, right? And you were there at the meeting. We will discussing that what minutes of the meetings are. We will making the learning about the format and then how to write and everything. The next comes is great opportunities for creativity and participation. Now, what does that mean? In most of the meeting, the structure is a top centric, that is, the senior management speaks and the juniors only contribute when asked to their inputs. When there is a lack of free flow of ideas and information or opportunity to speak, the participants fail to contribute their perspective, curbing their creativity. Now, what it means is sometimes what happens is that there's a meeting between seniors and juniors. Now, what happens is seniors, they just tend to speak their mind and they don't let juniors speak. In that case, there is a lack of opportunity, lack of, the idea of flowing of, free flowing of the idea information is basically barred. So participants fail to contribute. They can't contribute their perspective, right? In that case, the meeting becomes ineffective, and at times, it does not help. Since everybody should have a right to speak in the meeting, their mind. If they have done some research, why not? They can discuss their ideas. So it basically curbs their creativity. Next time, they won't even they make or put their mind into what that needs to be done for the meeting. The purpose of the meeting is defeated. The meeting should be opportunity to bring multiple perspectives into the room in order to collaborate, debate, decide, perform the task assigned to them. Are we clear? Are we clear till here? Basically, it just curbs when people don't get opportunity to speak. They just start to feel, and they just stop thinking about topics and what all can we do and not do it. Are we clear? Are we clear till here, guys? Hello, can you all hear me? Venu sir? I'm clear. See, I can see, you can see me, right? Oh, right. So, is the topic clear till now? Okay. Now you have to briefly tell me that what do you think from your perspective and what you've understood, what is a meeting, right? And if you have an experience of meeting or not. Okay, quickly tell me what do you think about what are meetings and what is the good part of the meeting and what is the bad part of the meetings. Good promote. So can you tell me about the experience of your meeting? What used to happen and what not? Were the agendas clear? Meetings saves time. I don't know how it saves time, Dimple. Solutions can be achieved, right? Sometimes conflict may happen. That's also true. Okay, good, Dimple. Okay, so I think you guys have got a fair idea about what meetings are. Okay, okay. So you've got a fair idea, guys. I'm glad to see. Okay, now why we are doing this meetings chapter? What do you think? Why are we discussing? We just started from communication chapter, then we did grammar, then we did vocabulary, we did all kinds of writing skills and resume writing, and now why my meetings? Why do you think we're doing this chapter meetings here? Okay. Well, okay. Promote. So meetings we're doing because again, everything comes down to the professional real world. And meetings is a very essential part. You should know how the meetings are conducted, why they're conducted, how they are conducted. So all of that is very essential to know what all you need to behave. We create the meetings also in CLI. We don't create something, we conduct it. No, Nishit, no, no, no. Okay, so this is just to find a solution to your day-to-day problems, day-to-day activities, and all of that. Am I clear? Okay, so now and then what I'll do is I'll take a 5 minutes break. We come at 12 o'clock, and then we will discuss further about the need for the agenda, why we need an agenda, then how agendas are basically prepared. We'll discuss about that format. Then there is a template for meeting agenda. That how do you prepare a agenda meeting for that? Then it comes to minutes of the meeting. So and so on. We will be discussing that what it takes, what are the technical things related to the meetings here. Am I clear? Yes. Okay, let's just take a break and join at 5 minutes for at 12 o'clock. Right. So we were discussing about the agenda that we're going to discuss now. Just give me a second. Give me a second. Okay, I'm so sorry. Yes, so we will be discussing now that why do we need the agenda exactly? Now, like I said, there is no meeting without an agenda. You cannot have a meeting if there is no agenda at all. You need to have a purpose, you need to have an objective when it comes to meetings. So, agenda is one of the, again, the most essential part, besides, of course, having people to, conduct the meeting. Uh, Agenda, now, why do we need it? Now, there's specific reasons for it. Let me just share my screen. Okay. So now, need for agenda is that you need to state an objective or purpose of the meeting specifically. You cannot waste somebody's time. You cannot waste your own time just sitting chit chatting about something which is not purposeful, something which is not useful, right? If there is a need, then you have a meeting, right? So you have to state it very clearly, and even before calling for the meeting, everybody should know why they're meeting, right? Like we discussed previously, so that if they know what the agenda is, they can think on the same lines, come up with something if they want to share, come up with solution if there is a problem that is going to be discussed in the meeting. So everything has to be conveyed in before the meeting, basically. Not, you cannot do this that you conduct a meeting and then you tell the at right at that moment that why we have met. How will that help anyone anyway? How will people actually help you? Right? Now, enumerate the issues and topics to be discussed. So basically, you need to come together and discuss what are the issues and topics that needs to, you basically have to number them, you have to list down the things that needs to be discussed. Then you have to keep the meeting focused on the issues, prevents the speaker. Now, if you have an agenda fixed, if you have an objective and purpose of the meeting clear, it basically prevents the speakers to deviate from the subject and start discussing about something else. Now, if you don't have the agenda, right, everybody's coming up with their own minds, then people will just discussing anything and everything. There won't be any conclusion, right? If I have an issue and you have a separate issue, right, and I say that this is a thing, how can you give me inputs if you have not thought about the problem, what problem that I want to discuss? And similarly, if you want to discuss about a problem and you have not informed me, then how will I discuss about that problem? How will we even get to the conclusion later on, right? So then that is again a need, that you need to keep the meeting focused, right? To guide the participants to understand and prepare for their roles. Of course, you have to understand that you have to make people understand what this meeting is about, what is your role in the meeting. Now, for example, we're discussing about a project and that project has been delayed for some, maybe a financial issue, so financial crunch in the organization. So then you call the this thing, you call for a meeting with a finance department and then you discuss with them. But people who are coming in the meeting, they should have their own separate roles that is going to add on to the value of the meeting, right? You cannot call people who are not concerned, they're not even related to it, they won't even understand what the issue is, right? And this is why we say that choose the right participants, because only they can have a role according to the agendas. Allot specific time to each speaker. Now, you should, as maybe if you're a facilitator, you should know how much time to allot to which speaker, so that again, we don't cross the timing issue, we don't cross the duration, right? We stick to the time, and of course everybody gets a chance to speak. It shouldn't happen that there's only one person who's speaking and the others are just listening. Then that is not a meeting, right? So I don't know, maybe that's a lecture or something, but that's not a meeting. So you need to have in mind that everybody will get a chance to speak. That is how you're supposed to plan a meeting. Inform the speech sequence in which the members will speak. Now, in the beginning, you can actually, when you're discussing the agenda, or probably before you are sending out the intimation of the meetings, you can clearly specify that how much time will be given to which speaker, and what is going to be the sequence of the members that will be speaking. Now, how does that help? That helps in one, everybody knows what they have to think about and what they have to speak. So what is their role in the meeting? They are very clear, right? And then they are prepared. They are very prepared in advance that, okay, this is what I have to explain and this is what I have to speak. This is how I have to keep my mind out, right? Am I clear? Then only the meeting will be successful. Then only we can reach to the conclusion. Otherwise, we will never be able to reach to the conclusion. If everybody is talking whatever they want to talk to, there is no specific time, there is no purpose, nobody knows why they are there. So they will be that will end up having just one of the get-togethers informally. That won't be a meeting, a formal meeting. Are we clear? Okay, I'm going to share with you an example of a tabular agenda, how the agendas are prepared and how they're sent out to everybody. One second. Okay, so this is how the agendas are prepared for the meetings. So if you have to prepare agenda of the meeting that starts at 9 o'clock, so till 9 to 12 o'clock maybe, you have planned that how this meeting will go on. So you start with that there's going to be introduction, then the names of the participant, name of the speaker, 15 minutes. Then discussing the upcoming strategy for the launch of new product, that we start at 9:50. So basically this is roughly, of course you can't stick to it exactly, but this is roughly that so that nobody crosses time, right? The name of the participant, name of the speaker, 30 minutes. Then there's a project report, then tea break, then market trends, then details of costing, then there is an open house, and then there's thank you note. Am I clear? Now, this we're talking about the huge, the big meetings like the, annual general meeting, the board meetings, the meetings where there are a lot of participants involved, and they're going to discuss really huge stuff, really big stuff. So this is how this is planned. Otherwise, Nobody will know who is going to speak, what they're going to speak. Everybody will keep looking at each other's faces. Everybody might want to run out of the situation and say that, oh, I don't want to speak, right? So this is why these things are important, to plan beforehand, to have something conclusive, to have something substantial. This is why we plan these meetings in a form. Am I clear? Yes. Any problem so far? Okay. The next thing is the template of meeting agenda. Okay, now this is another template which is about a meeting agenda. So this is about meeting information. And what is objective? Why are we meeting? Then there is a date, there is time, and then there is location that you need to mention. Now, the agenda items are what all we are going to discuss. There is no time limit to it. It just specifies what all things we're going to discuss. Call to order, pledge of allegiance, welcome, roll call, approval, old business, new business agenda, and all of that. And then recorded by that. Who recorded this? Are we clear? Okay. So now what we discussed just now was a meeting agenda. Now, meeting agenda is basically when you simply list down that what all the things that you hope to cover in a meeting, right? It just basically outlines the structure, and you use the bullet points and numbers and just list down what all things will be discussed. Okay. Now, what do we include? Recurring items, so items that we can do discuss. Okay. And that is something we can start with. So you start with the meeting attendance, then approval of last week's meeting minutes, updates on status of teams or projects. Then you talk about the outstanding or the unfinished business in this. So probably you pick up the things from the last meeting, and then you discuss what all was done and what all was not done. Then you talk about new topics. You add on to new topics and what all things we need to do for the future planning. What are the new projects that we're taking up? What are the new things that we would like to include so that our businesses succeed, it becomes more prosperous. Then comes the housekeeping part. The meeting agenda concludes the standing items and housekeeping. Here you will ask for announcements of interest to the group, plan the date, item of the next meeting, assign everyone's action times, and then you basically assign that who's going to do what. And then you plan that next time we're going to meet at this time, and the business should be done, whatever has been assigned to everyone. Are we clear? Okay, can we move on? Anybody who has a query, a problem? Yes, I can share. Anything else? I don't see anybody else sending out any message. Okay, so somebody just wanted me to repeat that. I'm just going to do it. Okay. Now, please understand this is just a template. Okay, it might be different for others. Now, call to order is basically when the owner or the chairperson basically calls for the meeting. It says the agenda items. This is the first thing. Call to order is just to call for the meeting. It is a procedure. Then pledge of allegiance is basically when you take a oath or to be loyal to an organization. Now, this does not happen in every organization. This usually happens in government organizations and all. Then there's a welcome introduction. The one person is going to welcome, and introduce it why we are here and who all are there in the meeting. Probably, the employers are there, and they're also the main top management is there. So basically, we just introduce them. Then there is a roll call where you basically take an attendance who's there for the meeting and who's not. Then there is an approval of previous meeting minutes. You basically pick up the meetings and then you see that what was done and what was not done. Then there is an old business, new business that is discussed. Addition to the agenda, what all things we will be adding to the agenda. Then there is a calendar to basically, to tell everyone that which task has to be finished at what time and by whom. So basically, you set the calendar, and then there's an adjournment, basically, when there's a thank you, and then everybody leaves for the meeting. Am I clear? Okay, should we move on now? Okay, perfect. So let's do this question number one to right now. you have to set the agenda of the meeting. So the managing committee of the Bharat Shiksha Institute has decided to bring changes in English and accountancy syllabus for the first year course. Mr. Kamal Kapoor, the academic dean of the institute, has been assigned the task of covering a meeting of stakeholders, subject experts, colleges, lecturers, blah blah. Set an agenda for the meeting, suggestions for the discussion, review previous labels, identify redundant. All of this is written. Now inform your secretary, Ms. Swati, to write the minutes of the meeting, subject and action report. Now, you're not going to do all of that. You just have to set an agenda of the meeting. The first part of the question in your query boxes. So how are you going to set the agenda of the meeting for such a meeting? What all will be discussed in the meeting? Take that question number one. You have to pick the first template, and then on the same lines, you have to prepare the agenda of the meeting. Wait, I'll share. Okay, the first question, please. Quickly, you can pick the first template and then prepare the agenda. I'm going to wait for 5-10 minutes. Quickly do it. You just have to prepare the agenda for the meeting. That's it. for RTP section, you need to basically go to the website to the study material section. Uh, Thank you, Nishit. Thank you, Punjabi sir, Asif. Nishit, you don't have to put the agenda like this. You have to draw that kind of a tabular thing that we discussed. So basically, the topic, we talk about the timing, topic, attendee, speaker, duration. Just create a hypothetical things, what all things that need to be discussed. I'm waiting, please be quick. Nishit, that's fine. But then you have to make the agenda, meeting agenda. What all you write here? Okay, it seems like that you all are stuck. Okay. Now, in this one, you are basically Kamal Kapoor, who's the one who's going to take care of the meeting. You have to make the agenda. Okay. Now, the agenda is basically so he's been told that they're supposed to make some changes in the English and accountancy syllabus, which is a major one of the entire first year course. Now, whom all they want to call for the meeting? Stakeholders, right? So, who are the stakeholders? Subject experts, college registrars, students, members of the print and publishing department to decide the necessary alterations in the syllabus. Now, as Kamalpuri is supposed to. Now, so basically, what you'll do is, if you look at this agenda table here, look at this now, and now give me suggestions what all you can do. Hello? Yes. So now look at the timing. You have to decide the topic, what all we're going to be talking about in this agenda. Now, if you see in the question, already the examples are given, the topics to discuss. So the first of the topics will be that you'll discuss the suggestions for discussion, review previous syllabus, then you identify the redundant topics, then you suggest inclusions of latest relevant content, include constructive and useful content from a student point of view, discuss time frame. Now, what you'll do is you will basically set an agenda. You are the academic team. So in this table, you will basically mention the timing, or how much time you will decide it, how much time has to be given to which topic, right? So topic could be introduction, then you can talk about that we need to bring it to the changes to the syllabus, right? Then you discuss about what are the topics which are redundant, so you can basically assign it to one of the lecturers or this thing. Then you can discuss about what are the problems that were faced by the students, so you can pick up a student basically representative who can actually come and represent. You can take a viewpoint from all students and come and tell you that these are the problems that we face in this kind of a curriculum, and how it is useful to us and how it is not useful for them. Am I clear? So you basically make the list of all of that, and you suggest the changes also here. And your speakers will be, you have to decide your speakers from subject experts, student council, uh, college lecturer, students, members of print and publishing department. So basically, when you're discussing changes, that means the new book has to be published, when new book has to be published, you need to keep an account of print and publishing department also, that what all things you would need from us, what is the kind of the layout that you would need from us. So all of that, you need to have all of these people on board. Am I clear? So you basically discuss the previous levels, you identify topics, then you suggest what all things can be included now for the relevant content, and then you include the constructive and useful content from student point of view. You take the student point of view, and then you come up to the timeline of by what time it has to be closed, the inputs, the new rewriting of the book or reviewing of the book, then how much time the printer would need to print it, how much time the publisher would need it. So all of that. This is what the agenda is. And at last, Mr. Kamal Kapoor will come up and then talk about it, what all we have finally decided. Now, I have already explained you. Now send me your answers, please. I've got only two answers, Shreya and Dimples. Okay, just two more. Why? Is there any problem understanding the agenda? If there's anything that you want to repeat, just tell me. Because I'm not going to touch the rest of the two topics that are again little technical. I would like to do it in the next class in one go. Okay, Shreya, thank you. I know I've seen your response, but Shreya, you just need to mention it. You don't have to lay down what will happen. You just have to draw a table. You have to be very crisp about it. That what is the topic, what is the timing, who is the speaker, and what are presented. That's it. Then meet. That's right. Then meet. That's good. Now you have to mention the timing. Then you have to mention the person who's going to speak. And you have to mention the name of the attendees also, basically. So what happens is, why I'm saying attendees is, for example, you are discussing internally about what needs to be deleted and what needs to be added. Now that is a very technical topic, in that we don't need a publisher and printer to be included, right? So we need a publisher and printer when we're discussing the timelines of the work, okay, and then how we want to, basically submit the work and everything. So in that case, attendees are very important. So um, now maybe a student is not involved in every step of the meeting. The student is just called for like 15-20 minutes to come and give the inputs, and that's it. So this is why name of the attendees is also important. Sometimes people are given specific time to join the meeting. That's it. They're not there from the start to finish. And sometimes, as a person, individual, you might not want to be the entire meeting. You just want to be till the time you are required. So you just ask that, what is when can I join? And so 15-20 minutes, and then you can just go after the discussion is over, regard the topic related to you. All right, everyone. So this was about the agenda. Okay, great, Shreya. Nishit, 10:30 a.m. tea break for 20 minutes. You start with the, oh, okay, 9 o'clock you started. All right. Introduction speaker, 15 minutes. I'm sure everybody wants that. They want to start a meeting with a tea break only. Mhm. Good, Nishit. Very good attempt. Maybe Tanmeet, maybe. Tanmeet, I read your answer. Okay, I've received few responses, but then they're good enough. Uh, I'm just assuming that everybody else has understood what meetings are, what are the needs of the agenda, what are the requisites of the meeting. All of that you've understood, I'm assuming. In the next class, we'll be starting with the minutes of the meeting and the action report that needs to be submitted. Yeah. Okay, now one question. How many types of meetings do we have? How many types of meetings do we have? Two types, very good. So the two types of meetings are organizational and operational meetings, right? Now, what is the difference? Organizational meetings usually have a definite time, but operational meetings can be called at any time. Yes, right? Are we clear about that? Then we talk about the agenda. Then we talked about why we need meetings and what all things we need for the meetings. What are the requisites or the essentials parts of the meeting, right? That is to have that we need to have right kind of people. We need to have a clarity in our minds that why are we conducting a meeting in first place. Then we should have sent intimation to all participants in advance. We should tell them that what this meeting is about so that they have enough of time to gather information and to prepare the data that needs to be discussed in the meeting, right? And then, of course, there has to be facilitators who, a neutral person who basically conducts a meeting. Now, this could be anybody's PA, secretary, or maybe the head of the department, whoever wants to be a facilitator, somebody who basically facilitates. No, I'm sorry. The facilitators are usually the top people from the top management or the head of the departments. Okay, they just ensure that everybody sticks to the agenda and there is a structure in the process. There's no time waste going on. There is nothing like, out of the context conversations happening, and they just want to reach to the conclusion. Then they arrive to a clear conclusion, formulate next steps. Then they create now you have to make sure that in a meeting you create opportunities and for the creativity and the participation. Now, if you are a facilitator, if you are conducting a meeting, it is your duty to involve everyone in the meeting. You basically have to give everybody roles. You have to take their inputs also. You cannot just say that, I'm the boss, just listen to me. Yes, you have to listen to others as well. Okay? Any problem that anybody has? Okay. Right. So just do let me know how was today's class, if everything was clear to you guys. And in the next meeting, we'll discuss about the minutes of the meeting. Minutes of the meeting is usually and generally the details of the meeting that conducted, that who said what and what was decided and what all issues were discussed. It's just a formal document that is prepared, that is documented, because verbally you discuss so much. For a 3 hour long meeting, you will be discussing so much and so much will be happening. You cannot remember everything. At times you might miss out onto any information, important point. So in that case, this helps minutes of the meeting, right? Secondly, if one meeting happened today and if another meeting is going to happen related to today's meeting next month, so half of the things people will forget because there's so much and there's so many verbs in between. They're doing so many things, so they will forget. So minutes of a meeting, it just helps you to be on the track. It just never lets you forget anything. You can open the minutes of the meeting, and minutes of the meeting can be discussed in the next meeting also, that what was done and what is not done, what was successful or what was not successful. So that's how minutes of the meeting helps. So in the next class, we will be preparing the minutes of the meetings and then how to submit an action report. Are we clear? So are we good for today? Yes, please go through your study materials, your test papers, so that you get an idea about the questions, how they come. in the exams, how they are asked in the exams, and how you're supposed to answer. Because suggested answers are given so that you get to know how to answer the questions. Right? All right. So I don't think there is any other problem because nobody has said anything. So I'll take a leave now and I'll see you on the 7th of February now. All right. Bye bye, guys.